Throw Friday's caution to the wind after Nebraska's spring game on Saturday. Start true freshman Dylan Raiola. Start him, keep him out there, get him out there. He's the best quarterback on this football team, and I can't wait to watch him play. He passed my eyeball test. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. Coming up on 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and this episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and I'm a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go now for free on the App Store or Google Play. We are going to dissect Nebraska's spring game from Saturday. Dylan Raiola is the real deal, plus some Big Ten coaching news and other spring games as well. We'll catch you up on, plus our top 10 observations from the weekend. Now, we spent a lot of time on Friday's podcast talking about how true freshman quarterbacks typically, they don't play in Power 5 or Power 4 football, right? They take their time, they get ready. They're just not ready. But look at Ohio State. They've got 2 5-star freshmen on that team. Probably won't see the field much this year. However, in Lincoln, different story. Nebraska's 5-star freshman Dylan Raiola raised the bar on expectations for his rookie season this year during Nebraska's red-white spring game on Saturday. For the record, the white team beat the red team 25-21, but they were mixing and matching players, so it really doesn't matter. Raiola, though, playing for both teams, finished 16 of 22 for 239 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and an early interception. 60,000 fans were on hand to check this out, and they absolutely went nuts when Raiola hooked up with Jalen Lloyd for a 64-yard score. Kid's got a big arm, too, on top of everything else. Matt Rhule used a lot of adjectives to describe his young quarterback, but the one I liked the best was calm. Calm. That's right. Kid's just 18 years old, turns 19 in a couple weeks. He looked calm and relaxed. And I know it was just a spring game, but this moment was not too big for him. Now, it was a big deal. Well, look, there's 60,000 fans there, and they're ready to see you play. He was asked what it was like when he stepped onto that field for the first time. He says he didn't remember. Blanked out. Because it was a big deal. But he got calm and he found his inner zen and he played. All right. Just so calm and relaxed and in command. You really don't see that in a true freshman. And a redshirt freshman at that. But no, true freshman like him, yeah, you hardly ever see it. And again, I know it was just a spring game, but this moment was not too big for him. So surely when you look ahead to the schedule, those early games on the schedule, we'll get to those in a moment. Those aren't going to be too big for him. I'm changing my mind right before your very eyes. The kid needs to play, needs to start. One of his early passes was picked off. It was just a little behind the receiver, Demetrius Bell. Not too much. Bell got both hands on the ball, went through his hands and got picked off. So, he really didn't do too much wrong on the day. By the way, Ethan Nation with that interception. And also, by the way, it looked like Bell, a little later in that game, suffered a serious injury. So that was sad to see that. But back to quarterbacks in general. Some guys look frazzled out there on the football field. Quarterbacks have a lot to do in a short time to do it. They have to process a million different things within about 2 seconds. Every single play. And some guys look frazzled. Whether it's just they're making the right reads, struggling to get the ball where it needs to go, they're just hanging on by a thread. You've seen that kind of quarterback before. That's whether they're a true freshman or maybe a more experienced quarterback that doesn't have as much talent with a defense in his face all day. You know the look. And then there's Dylan Raiola, just smooth and calm, quick release, little flick of the wrist, the ball goes 25 yards downfield. Strong arm. And he can wind up that big arm and throw it downfield. Again, 18, just turning 19 years old, just as poised as can be. It's like the game is in slow motion for this guy. It takes it takes quarterbacks 4 and 5 years to get to this point. He's there right now. So if the spring game isn't too big for him, and this is a kid that should be going to prom right now. Remember, he's an early enrollee, left with a semester to go in high school to enroll at Nebraska and get a jump start on everything. But yeah, typically he should be taking final exams right now for high school, going to prom, and get ready for graduation. Now he's leading the Nebraska football team right now and looking fantastic. Look, win or lose, he can handle UTEP based on what I just saw. Win or lose, he can handle Northern Illinois from what I just saw. Those are two of the first three opponents on the Huskers schedule. Let them play. Get them out there. Let them play. Let them learn. You know, another thing that impressed me this weekend was Raiola was asked to bounce from the red team to the white team back and forth. I mean, he's still getting to know his teammates, learning plays, trying to get chemistry down, and he's flipping back and forth from both teams every other series or so. He completed passes to like more than a dozen receivers from what I saw. Still working on that chemistry, but he's just spraying the ball all over the place. So another thing I noticed about the Huskers offense, let's compare it to last year's for just a moment. We've discussed, you and me, here on this podcast before, how last year's offense for Matt Rhule in Nebraska, it was a little outdated, right? It was from the Tom Osborne era, where the number one running option was the quarterback. How many games did Nebraska have where their quarterback was the leading rusher on the day? A lot. And I just don't think you could do that anymore. Now, they had Jeff Sims to start out. He was one of the three quarterbacks, and that was kind of his style. It wasn't the greatest passer, but could run. But his problem was he kept turning the ball over. Had any of the three quarterbacks that they used with any regularity last year hung on to the ball, I'm absolutely certain Nebraska would have got at least the 6th win and become bowl eligible. Absolutely, they would have. So they got to still take care of that. But in this day and age, I don't think you could put your quarterback at risk to have him run all the time where he's your leading rusher, college or pro. You don't want that heavy running load anymore. You got to be able to throw the ball at this day and age in college and pro football. So fast forward to this year with Raiola. Seems like problem solved. Going to be a lot more pocket passing, less quarterback runs. I believe both offenses on Saturday's game combined for over 700 yards of offense. It is working. I'd love to hear from you Husker fans. You've got to be beyond excited from what you saw, the little glimpse of what you saw this weekend, Saturday, in the spring game. There's no question in my mind that Dylan Raiola will be the starting quarterback week 1 on Matt Rhule's Cornhusker football team. That's a different than our – we didn't know. We didn't know one way or the other when we did Friday's podcast previewing this game. We were talking about, do you ease them in the first game? Do you ease them in the third game? Maybe the first road game. Maybe you wait for the bye and start them at Indiana. We're talking about all these things. Throw it all out the window. Start him week 1. He's ready to go. And he's going to make mistakes. He's going to look like a freshman from time to time, up and down. That's okay. Get him in there. Get the mistakes out of the way as soon as possible. You still got him for like at least 3 years. Of course, so assuming he doesn't transfer portal out, or if he's not going to go to the NFL for several years, you could just build on this. So anyway, congratulations to the Huskers. Things are looking up for sure. He wasn't the only quarterback to look good over the weekend. Oregon and quarterback Dillon Gabriel. He's replacing NFL first-rounder Bo Nix, who went number 12 to the Denver Broncos this past week. And he competed in Oregon's spring game as well, completed 14 of 21 passes for 163 yards, a couple touchdowns, and led the Oregon white team to a 28-17 win over Team Green. Dan Lanning had nothing but good things to say about Gabriel afterward, about the work, the attitude, the humility, called him the ultimate teammate. And again, if you missed it, if you're an Oregon fan, we dedicated almost an entire podcast to it in the middle of last week. Go back and check it out here on Locked On Big Ten, or go to our website, talkbig10.com, where you can find it. That's number 10, talkbig10.com. We put all of our archived stuff there chronologically or by team, school, make it really easy for you to find it there. Okay. Meanwhile, get your thoughts, Oregon fan, on what you saw there. Be sure to subscribe. If you like what's going on here, subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. We've got some Big Ten coaching news. A couple of coaches found their way, and we have more spring games. Maryland, Rutgers. Rutgers did something really cool at the end of their game. This is the thing that they do. We'll share that all of that coming up in just 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Monopoly Go. You heard about this? So we're going to pause here and talk about Monopoly Go. And, you may have said, hey, you've already talked about this. Yeah, we have. There's just a lot of good stuff in this game. And Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. And the more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so many things you can get. You get unique stickers that you could trade with your friends, and you can complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, and it got hilarious emojis and stuff. You go back and forth, all electronic. It's really cool. Monopoly Go. It feels new and exciting every day, and constantly changing tournaments and challenges for you. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. There's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. It is spectacular. What you need to do is discover Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on Google Play or the App Store. It's game on. Again, it's Monopoly Go. I want to thank everybody for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. Thank you. You everydayers that make us go. Thank you. I think we crossed over 7,500 subscribers. If you haven't yet, I'll ask you, please subscribe. It helps us. It helps you. Brings us all together. All Big Ten stuff right together. All right. So subscribe on YouTube, share, and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig1010.com. Let's get into it here. Mike Locksley. His Maryland Terps had a pretty lopsided spring game over the weekend where the white team won 35-3. And Locksley confirmed that neither Billy Edwards Jr. or MJ Morris, the kid that transferred in from North Carolina State, neither of them have shown that they could get the inside track on that quarterback spot, which is vacated since Talia Tagovailoa left. He left as the Big Ten's all-time leading passer, so big shoes to fill. Took both guys about 3 quarters to warm up in this game, but that may be a sign of their defense over there. Maryland's pretty good this year. Locksley says he's got no problem winning ugly if he has to lean on his defense to win some games. We've seen some teams do it. Rutgers plays that way. Iowa played that way. Got in the Big Ten championship that way. Speaking of Iowa, you all know the story of Iowa football coach Kirk Ferentz. He had to fire his son, Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator last year, due to the Hawkeyes' struggles on offense the past couple of years. Well, Brian Ferentz has landed a job with Mike Locksley and Maryland as an offensive analyst. Before he was offensive coordinator, he was a pretty well thought of offensive line coach. So he has some skills he could bring. He just didn't get a lot of offense going. Didn't have a lot of weapons offensively at Iowa. We'll see how he does, but Mike Locksley has given him a job over there at Maryland. I mentioned Rutgers a minute ago. They had their spring game as well. Greg Schiano and company, the Scarlet team, defeated the white team 30-24, capped off by a 16-year-old who's a children's specialized hospital patient, autism advocate. They let him come on and score the last touchdown of the scrimmage at the end of the day. The whole team surrounded him in the end zone and cheered for him. One of the cooler things you'll see. They do that over there in Piscataway. It's a cool tradition, and I like it, and I wanted to mention it. I am interested in the quarterback battle here at Rutgers as well. Quarterback Gavin Wimsatt is back. Completed 8 passes on the day for 76 yards and a touchdown, plus ran 5 times for 64 yards and 2 more touchdowns for the Scarlet team. Meanwhile, Minnesota transfer quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis came in there. Not bad, 10 of 17 passing, 147 yards and 2 touchdowns for the white team. So there is a quarterback battle there. Maybe it's a 2-quarterback system ultimately. Not sure how that will play out. There also sounds like there's a healthy quarterback battle going on at Bloomington. Head coach Curt Cignetti brought in experienced transfer Curtis Rourke from Ohio. And, of course, returning redshirt sophomore Taven Jackson is giving him a run for his money. And that's the way Cignetti wants things. If Rourke is going to land that job, he is going to have to earn it this summer and wants it to play out that way. All right, so we have some coaching news. A couple of different – we told you about Brian Ferentz. He landed a job. Got some news about former Michigan coach Juwan Howard. He's got a new job already after he just got fired at Michigan. He's now an assistant coach with the Brooklyn Nets. He went back to the NBA. Howard was fired in mid-March after 5 years at his alma mater. Finished off his tenure at Michigan with a school record 24 losses this past year. Previously, he had been an assistant coach with Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat, and he also had a 19-year playing career in the NBA. The Nets recently hired Jordy Fernandez back on Monday as the new head coach, and it's his first head coaching gig, so he hired an experienced coach as an assistant. He's got Juwan Howard on the sideline with him there. Maybe that's where he belongs. Look, he got a shot at coaching at his alma mater. A lot of guys dream of that, going back, and it didn't work out. A lot of times it doesn't work out when you go back to your alma mater. But Juwan Howard back in the NBA, where he has plenty of experience as a player and also as a coach. And as you know, Dusty May is now the head coach at Michigan and tearing it up with the recruiting from what I hear. It's all good over there. All right. I want to ask you if you spend a lot of time watching talking head TV in the daytime. You know, those ESPN and Fox shows where they just scream and yell and talk over each other all the time. Maybe you're tired of it. You got to turn down the volume over there. Gets on your nerves a little bit after a while. Well, make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a 24/7 free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. It's Locked On Sports today. It brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or for free on Amazon Fire TV channels app. We tell you about all the time here. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, you know me. I'm always out there searching over the weekend for the biggest stories, the biggest events. We like to come out on Monday's podcast, pull them all together for our Big Ten Top 10 observations. It's a top 10 list. We'll see if your favorite moment of the weekend matches ours. That's coming up next in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. FanDuel, get on it. It's playoff time in the NBA, NHL. Baseball season is rolling. Get in on the action. Look, you may already enjoy sports. This makes it even more enjoyable. All right, you can place a bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. It's $150, win or lose. You can bet on everything from home runs, slam dunks, slap shots, goals, individuals. It's all on an app that's safe, secure, it's easy to use. And I'll ask you, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. By the way, tonight, Monday night, I like the Celtics to win, but I don't like the 10.5 points because the Heat, they're just tough. They like to hang around. I know the Celtics were blowing out people by 50 points in the regular season. I don't know if they're going to do that to the Heat. 10.5 may be too many points for me. I think the Thunder sweep the Pelicans. Denver -7.5 versus LA. That's in Denver. I think Denver takes care of this one. Lightning and Panthers. Panthers up 3-1. Goes back to the Panthers. Stay away from it. Sometimes you got to stay away and go find something else. Go to the NBA games I gave you. Just enjoy the Lightning Panthers game. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you on this one. The Lightning aren't going to die, and the Panthers are really good. Kind of stuck somewhere in between. All right. And if you want to go to any of these games, check out Game Time. The Game Time app you can get your tickets to anything. Sporting events or non-sporting events. Comedy shows, theater, all that stuff. Concerts. It's all right there. So if you're the person in charge of getting tickets for your group, go to the Game Time app I'll make it very, very easy for you. It's great to use the app to search out the events, find the event you want, buy the tickets that you want with just a couple of presses on your phone, and you're good to go. You could even see the picture from the view of the seat you're about to buy a ticket to. So check that out. Plus, Game Time has last-minute deals. Sometimes if you have to wait till the last second, sometimes you might save some money. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute sports or concerts or comedy or theater tickets. Check it out right there on the Game Time app. They got zone deals. Save even more when you choose a section and you let Game Time choose the seats. And they got this all-in pricing. It's a toggling feature. Just shows the total up front right away. No guessing, no surprise fees at the end. You are good to go. So you take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKDOWNCollege for $20 off of your purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code is LOCKDOWNCollege. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's I'm going to put on the screen my top 10 observations from the weekend around the Big Ten. We'll see if you agree or disagree with them. These are always fun. Always enjoy starting the week like this. And we'll go full screen. If you're on audio only, we'll describe it. At number 10, Maryland, Brian Ferentz. What? Craig, what? Maryland? Yeah. The former Iowa offensive coordinator, son of Kirk Ferentz, is now an analyst for Michael Oxley and Maryland. So congratulations. We like to see guys do well. If they get bounced around, maybe have some tough times, so be it, right? They get a new job. As did Michigan's Juwan Howard. He's now in the NBA with the Nets. So congratulations to those two guys for landing on their feet and getting a job fairly quickly. Shout out at number 8 to Michigan wide receiver Cornelius Johnson. I thought this was cool because he got drafted by his former coach Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers. That's pretty cool. I think both coach and player will enjoy that. Just like at number 7, same thing with Junior Colston. So Harbaugh ended up drafting 2 of his own players, linebacker Junior Colston and wide receiver Cornelius Johnson. So I thought that was cool. Put it on the top 10 list. At number 6, just kind of a recap of that, Michigan football, 13 players drafted in the NFL. That was more than any other school around the country. There were up to 18 kids that declared for the draft. The rest should sprinkle in as free agent signees that didn't get undrafted signees. I mean, there was some talk a little while back that they might have in the 20s, 20, 22 kids drafted, but now 13 was the number. That's still the most out of any school in college football this season. Shout out at number 5 to the Maryland defense in their spring football game. Again, pretty stingy. Maybe this is how maybe Maryland is the new Iowa. I don't know. But based on what we saw, there was some element of that. I know one team scored 34, the other team scored 3. But anyway, something to keep an eye on. Number 4, quite the opposite. The Nebraska offense got over 700 yards. Now, this is both sides of the spring game. Dylan Raiola played for both sides, by the way, and put up over 700 yards of offense. At number 3, got to mention Dylan Raiola. I was just so impressed with this kid on Saturday in the spring football game. Name him the starter right now. Let's not fool around, Matt Rhule. That's the deal. And all the excitement of the story, behind the story, and committing to Georgia and living in Georgia, but then decided at the last minute to flip and go to Nebraska where his family has ties. It's a cool story, and he is fun to watch. At number 2, you Nebraska fans, 60,000 of you showed up to that spring game on Saturday. And that's just a day after a lot of tornadoes. Certainly thoughts and prayers go out to all those families. A lot of middle America people having to deal with a lot of tornadoes over the weekend. And as Matt Rhule said, hopefully a few hours of Nebraska football allowed people to take their minds off of their troubles, whether they were one of the 60,000 on hand in person or watching on TV at home. And finally, a shout out to Rutgers football, letting an autism kid, 16-year-old, score the last touchdown of the spring game to cap it off. A tradition over there. Very cool. Very cool when you look at Rutgers with this kind of a tradition, or the Iowa fans waving at the Children's Hospital at the end of the third quarter of their home game. Stuff like that is really cool. And I want to make sure I mention it because I think it's awesome. They should be all commended for doing all that. So those are my top 10 observations from the weekend. Maybe you have some. Maybe I left something off that you thought I should have mentioned. Go ahead and hit me up on X or Twitter at TalkBig10 number 10. Don't forget our website. You see the crawl on the bottom, TalkBig10 number 10.com. Don't forget you get some merch there, and all of our podcasts are there under one roof. And also the comments on YouTube. I look forward to those. Had fun going through those just yesterday as well. So all of that in place. We still have one more spring football game to go into Big Ten. It's Washington, Big Ten newcomer. That's on Saturday, May 3rd. And the transfer portal closes today. So tomorrow will come on. Any last-second portal entries for football, we'll be all over it right here. And tell your friends about us. If they're Big Ten fans or alum, let them know we're out here. Be sure to subscribe, or tell them to subscribe for free. That helps us out. Always appreciate it. You can follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every morning. Go ahead and watch another episode of Locked On Big Ten after this one, or check out our friends at Locked On Sports Today from Locked On, here for you 24/7. So check that out. In the meantime, thank you for the visit. I enjoyed it. Hope you did too. Again, tell your friends about it. And I can't wait till we talk again tomorrow right here on Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman.